Alec, welcome back
Yes.
to the Tarqaron Fireside Chat.
You what? You're FDR now?
I do stand FDR. Here we are.
I
Um,
don't. I don't really, but that's fine.
Come on. He broke the rules three
He
times.
did break the rules. He broke the rules.
All right. Welcome back to the Tarqaron podcast. Okay, episode 2 of our monthly new podcast here. Very young and still growing.
Young and fresh.
No, 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 no.
Hot and fresh.
There you go.
Hot, fresh, and ready made.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Alec, you survived COVID.
I did.
Oh,
Immediately, I don't know why I started coughing right then.
brings you back.
I guess it was thinking about it just brings me back to the time I did. I had COVID for well, it was so I went on a trip to New York, which I guess I could talk a little bit about that.
If you insist.
That happened right after the podcast. So yeah, so I went on a trip to New York, and
How
then
dare you
I
during the
went
pandemic?
back, and then I went back.
First
Get
of
out of
all,
here. So we went on a trip to New York. It was really fun. Had good times. We got back, and I went back to work on. I guess it was I did a couple days. I guess I came back on Thursday, and then Friday during the workday I could feel like, oh yeah, I could sort of tell that I was sort of like getting a little bit of a cold. And I was like, oh, all right, well that's fine. It's be whatever. And kind of as the day kept going, and like particularly towards like the very end of the day, I was like, ooh, yeah, I don't know. This is like it's kind of starting to come on a little stronger. Like there was like some it was this like pain basically in my nasal passages, and I was like, huh. Well, okay, well I'll go home just to make sure, that's it's not COVID. I'll do a test. I got some at home, so I self tested, and sure enough I had COVID, and I was like, crap. Okay. Well, it's the weekend, and then I guess I'm not going to be working for the next few days after the weekend, but
score.
maybe by day 5 it'll be. So I was like, all right, I guess I'm gonna get another vacation. But I was like, it hasn't affected some people that I know. It's like, so maybe I'm
Right.
not gonna hit very bad. No, I got hit pretty bad. It was I was probably like the most sick I've ever felt in my life.
Mhm.
I I really only had like the like cold symptoms part of it. Like I know some people get like GI problems and stuff with it, and like a
Mhm.
bunch of other things, but all of mine was just like sinuses and um my my throat just like was killing me, just absolutely killing me. And then the fever, of course. Fever was awful. I had a fever for like 3 days. It was like, I think that's the longest time I've ever had a fever in my life, and I just kept having to swallow down pills to fight it, and it sucked
Mhm.
because all I could do was basically I lied in that bed. That's all I could do. I just lied in bed for like 4 days straight. Basically, it was like sad because I felt mostly fine Friday night. I think I hung out with Dubs a little bit, and then went to bed. And when I woke up, I was like, "Oh, I got a fever. Oh boy, I got a fever." I could just like feel it, and it's like I run a little cold, so like my normal like temperature is normally like 97 something. Um and it was like 103, and I was like, "Oh, okay. Yeah. This is bad. Oh, it's bad." Um yeah, so I had to live with that.
Mhm.
The coughing and sinuses stuff all started after that, and yeah, it was just I basically just like I couldn't even bring myself to really play games. Really, I tried a little bit. I played a little bit of Forspoken more towards the end of my tenure at home. It was
Right.
more when I was able to, when I was feeling more up to it. Because other times I just watched Breaking Bad or videos or like YouTube videos. But
Mhm.
even then, it was just like I just kind of like lounged and lazed because it was like I just felt miserable all the time. And I did lose taste for a couple days, like off and on for a couple days, but then that came back pretty much when the passages started getting a little more cleared up, and then I took an extra day off work because I was like, I've walked maybe like 50 feet in the last, or 100 feet in the last like 5 days, so I mean, I'm gonna need to take an extra day just to like do a little extra maintenance around the house and like finally get out of my room a little bit more, and so I took an extra day, and that was probably a really good idea. But then, of course, the day I went back was like the coldest day of the year by far. It was that super, I don't know if you had it down where you are, but it just got ridiculously cold. It was like negative 36 or something with wind chill here. That was at night. Thankfully, I was able to finish before then, but I've never had my hands flash freeze before, and they basically did that. It was very painful. Like as soon as I took my work gloves off, or I was done a job, I like threw them on my truck, and the wind picked up on the top of this hillside I was at, and they instantly froze. It was very awful. It was not fun.
Right.
But yeah. Anyway, that's my COVID experience, and it wasn't fun. But I'm here. I'm alive.
And yeah, I had it.
And neither of my housemates got it. So.
Yeah, I had it back on the 4th of July. I got it. So
yeah.
God bless America for that.
I mean, I almost feel like with a fever, like when it's hot out, it would be so much worse.
I was kind of for like the first day was the worst. I was like bedridden then, and that's at the point where you just, like don't want to do anything. I didn't move from my bed the whole time. So you think like, oh, it's a nice opportunity to just wind down potentially, and just play some games.
That's kind of what I was hoping to do. Yeah.
No, I mean it wasn't as long as like some people have had it. For me, it was only a couple of days I had it bad, and then it was like all right, just getting over some of the little symptoms. But yeah, it was funny because it was like the 4th of July. Had plans to like go on the boardwalk with my girlfriend and like go see fireworks and stuff, and it was like the morning at work. I tested, like it just symptoms suddenly came on. Like when I woke up, all I had was a cough, and then when I was at work was when I started feeling like way worse. So I went into like the bathroom and took a COVID test there, and I was like, oh, I got it, and I had to leave work early, and everything was like that.
Yeah, I was surprised at like how quickly it really set on, because like I said, it was quick then, and then like most of the night I felt fine, but then like the middle of the night I think is when I woke up in the middle of the night at one point, and I was like, oh, I've got a fever really bad, and it was like I was just like dying. I was like drenched. I was dying, and then I had chills because that's what fevers do, and I hate that. So
for me, it was almost like I had a feeling that's what it was, because it's like such a unique. It was a unique pain to me. Like I've never really. It feels different than a regular illness I've had before.
Yeah.
And sure enough.
Well, I don't typically get fevers very often. Like the only time, like really the only times I've had fevers in the last like maybe like 10 years is from the vaccine. That was like the first time when I got like the booster or whatever. Maybe not. No, when I got boosted, I got it. But I think when I got the second round of the vaccine, I think I got a little bit of a fever for like the first day. And then when I got the booster, it was like it hit me even harder that time. But this was like way worse than any of that crap. So much worse. So yeah, not fun. But I had fun in New York. My parents didn't get COVID, so I think I'm like almost 100% certain I got it the week before we went. So I'm just glad that I didn't give it to them.
Give it to them, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to stay indoors, people. Always.
Oh, just stay indoors all the time. Stay indoors, watch TV. Well, I got pissed off too because my coworkers were telling me like, oh yeah, we got it, but we didn't get bad. It was just like a little bit of a sniffle. And I was like, cool. Well, good for you. I guess you got to go just hang around your house like I couldn't, because like That exactly what I was thinking. I was like, man, I can like organize my game collection. I can do some stuff on like back lottery. I can do all that stuff, and then yeah, I was dying.
That's how people get into their heads that, oh, this whole thing's overblown. You know, it's
Yeah,
like, oh, it was nothing. It was gone. It was gone in a day.
yeah.
Prick.
Well, that's what I was. Well, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping I wouldn't get hit hard, and then of course I got hit hard, and then so,
You were
all right.
hoping it was just hype.
It was just I was hoping that it was all just hype.
Yeah.
All right, but hey, I lived through it, you know.
That's right.
So,
Anyway, we got a lot to talk about. I feel like there's last month I didn't have anything really like planned ahead of time, but like I've just been on the lookout for what stuff to talk about. We had a Nintendo Direct come out. That's definitely something to talk about.
yeah, for sure.
And
Yeah.
I already had a couple of things lined up. I just want to throw a name out for you, see if it gets any reaction from you.
Okay.
Billy Mitchell.
Oh, you want to talk about this? I watched Moist Critical talk about this, or Penguin Zero.
Yes.
Charlie.
Yeah,
I watched him talk
that's
about
what
it.
I talked about. I think that's the one I watched too. Like I didn't watch the original. What was his name? Carl Jobst or something.
Carl Jobst, yeah. Because Carl also did an amazing video on the Wata Games controversy, which if you're involved with like, if you ever go into Pete's eBay streams during that period of time during the Carl Jobst stuff, that was like huge. Like everyone was always talking about the Wata Games stuff. Everyone's always talking about it. I mean, it still is brought up every once in a while too, in those streams. So yeah, Billy Mitchell.
I want to set this up. Billy Mitchell is known for being in the movie A King of Kong, all right, which is a classic like gamers documentary movie that like blew up back in the day. Which even like reading about this and watching it, I'm like, we should review that movie. I feel like it should.
I wanna watch it again so bad. I watched it when I was in high school, and I like that like got me that sort of like it like reinvigorated partially my interest in retro stuff. Like I think I went to Fun Spot like relatively soon after that to go and like be like, oh yeah, retro games and stuff. That stuff's awesome. And then of course All Gen Gamers kind of only that podcast where me and you first met through that online, and that sort of definitely like, okay, I'm into like collecting retro games. Like that's something that I would like to do. But yeah, King of Kong was just like what a fun. It was. I remember having so much fun watching it.
Yeah, it's fun, and yeah, for those you don't know, it's like it's a movie about the people racing to get the high score in Donkey Kong, and like breaking records, and like these titans of Donkey Kong coming to a head, kind of thing.
So Steve Wiebe, Billy Mitchell, and of course Twin Galaxies, which is the site that sort of hosts all these high scores for stuff. And a lot of it starts with when Steve Wiebe is just like looking. It's like, oh, they've got a high score at Donkey Kong. I love that game. I can try to do that. He had like he like picked up a copy. Like he picked up an arcade unit of it, and then and then it's like, yeah, all about the kind of this little rivalry that happened between them.
Yeah, which is a fun rivalry. And Billy Mitchell was always the heel in it. You know, he was like,
yeah, and
it was always at the time, it was like, oh, he's just the heel. He's playing it up, and it's like people give him a bad rap. He's like he's entertaining, and it's just this little character that he does. Yeah. But then as time's gone on, and now he's still in like headlines recently about like potentially cheating scandals, and like his records being taken from him basically because there's been like proof of using modification. And then recently a whole like even bigger controversy. He like sued. There's a lawsuit against Twin Galaxies for defamation that he made, and now he's got a lawsuit against the YouTuber Carl Jobst for making videos like claiming that he's cheating and everything, bringing up pretty substantial evidence, and it's pretty like irrefutable at this point that, like, at the very least, he used modified equipment, which is against the rules of Twin Galaxies for the records.
Yes, it is irrefutable for, especially for Donkey Kong, that he's used what is it? Shoot. What's the virtual arcade unit? Shoot, I can't remember what it's called. MAME, yes. Mm-hmm. The multi-arcade, whatever that's called. Yeah. Yeah, so, and the reason that you can figure this out is because ROMs and altered versions, or maybe not altered, but like the way the Donkey Kong unit generates levels, if you go it frame by frame, the way it generates like level 1, for example, is completely different on MAME. It does it in a totally different fashion, and from that you can kind of tell what's real and what isn't. And it all has to do with how the game is like generated and processed, which is really fascinating, but it's also cool because that means that you can then suss out like fakers from the real thing. There's actually stuff in King of Kong, from what I remember, of them talking about a controversy of is Billy Mitchell's score real or not. And I remember because there was a lot of stuff with Walter Day,
like
who shows up
the
in
witnesses, like
talking about it. Yeah,
there's only like a select 3 people that witnessed the thing. There's not an actual recording of the record. It was just like witness. It was done live.
So that's a different one. But yeah, this particular record, which is under scrutiny now, which is the one that people so have seen live or whatever. But I mean, you can just look at that picture of him funny. Shaking that guy's hand, and it's like that's a MAME unit. That's not an original Donkey Kong unit, because
so Nintendo different stick on the arcade machine, right?
And I having remembered, like, from all my times at arcades, Nintendo arcade units had that specific joystick. That was like what they had. They all have it, including Play Choice 10 has that. They all have that sort of little knob. It's a little loose. It's not like a big stick, which is basically what he was using. So, yeah.
So it was funny, if you watch Moist Critical's video on it, or Carl Gibbs' original video on it, talking about how it's like it was right there all along. It's just that picture that's like been shown so often is just like, there it is. Oh, that's it. It's a different stick,
hiding in plain sight. Yeah,
but it's one of those classic things of like, he's gonna deny it till the day he dies. He'll never admit it. He's literally throwing lawsuits just to try to dispel this, just claiming it's defamation and everything. But I just think it's so interesting that it just like recontextualizes the whole original movie back in like 2007. It was made. It's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember when it was that we watched it. I feel like I don't remember exactly, but I feel like it was with like old Netflix, like where you would like mail in that you'd like order DVDs and they would send that to you. I feel like that's how we saw it. Like we rented it that way. I feel like when I watched it with my brother, I don't remember, but we should review it again. That would be fun.
It's like the premier gamer movie, It's like for retro gaming, like when you get into the retro gaming community, that's often like, at least at the time when I got into it, that was like something you quickly become aware of. I still prefer Ecstasy of Order, the Tetris Masters. I still prefer that one personally.
I've heard that one's really good. There's one. I feel like there's another one that I remember watching and really enjoying a lot too. I think it was a pinball one.
Mm-hmm.
That one was awesome. I really liked that one a lot. I can't remember what it's called. I remember I watched that in college. It was like a Saturday afternoon, and I got a couple people together to watch it, and we all really liked that one a lot.
I mean, there's good documentaries out there. We watched one on this channel in 2020 called High Score.
Yeah, that was cool. Very good. That's a series too, so that's a good one. But there's another one too. That was the indie game, the movie. That one's I like that one as well. It's a good one.
But King of Kong is just like it's like known so much. Like even if you weren't a gamer per se, like I'm sure my family knew about it growing up. I think my mom knew about it. It's like It's one of those things. It's larger than even the niche community that it really is built around.
Mm.
Um, so, yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Billy
Yeah,
Mitchell
Billy
is.
Mitchell, cheater.
I just went down the rabbit hole a little bit, and there's he had videos on his YouTube channel of even last or a year or two ago of him crashing some convention with Walter Day there, and just giving some awards or something. And he still thinks he's so cool. He still puts on this whole character of him being so cool.
He's like the greatest video gamer of all time, or whatever he
Right.
calls himself, and it's like
You're getting old,
video.
dog.
It's just like, dude,
And he got his hot
chill out.
sauce.
Also,
That was his whole thing in the movie.
it's
He got
Hot
a
Sauce Empire, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, wow.
But it's interesting. He's just becoming increasingly more shamed. His reputations is
I know.
going even more downhill.
Yeah, wow.
So that's so tough. It's your whole thing is that you were known for these records, and then it's literally all that's being stripped away. It's
Because he's done perfect games of Pac-Man and stuff like that too.
he did other arcade games too, like Centipede or something.
Centipede was one, I think, as well. Yeah.
But once you break the rules on one, it's none of it's worth anything. You're
all bets are off.
I was watching a video about this guy who cheated on a Halo speedrun and then was in AGDQ. He ended up going to AGDQ and doing an awful Halo run.
I literally just was watching that a couple nights ago.
Yeah,
I was just watching that.
Videos.
Yeah, me too. And it wasn't really too much on it. It was just showing this guy, he was he spliced his runs. He spliced his and you can tell because of how poorly he was doing.
He did.
And it was
he did awfully. How are you gonna cheat?
Yeah.
Splice your runs and then go in. And as someone commented, it's this is one of the worst cheaters I've seen. Usually cheaters are pretty good at the game. They just they're not the best. But this guy just he was just dying repeatedly, and it ended up just being a casual playthrough of Halo. By the end of it, he was changing difficulties, them,
and
it was
so bad.
double the estimated time it was gonna take. Over 4 hours.
Yeah, this is you could get away with it when not as many eyes were on GDQ at that period of time.
Right.
So you could kind of get away with it a little bit more.
He was apparently invited back after that for another run too.
Yeah, and with that one he did he was still doing pretty poorly. Mm-hmm. So it was man,
not as bad, not nearly as
not
bad.
As bad.
I think he learned.
But he was still he was still 45 minutes over estimate or something though, which that just typically doesn't happen.
He was 2 hours. It was over 2 hours over. It was estimated 2 hours, and it was in the new one.
And then in the other one, I think it was Halo Reach he did, and that he was 45 minutes over estimate. And it was ugh.
It was embarrassing to watch. The video just kind of broke it down, but you just got to see a lot of it play out.
Yeah,
it was rough. There's something about cheating scandals that are just so enticing.
It's true. Yeah.
I've seen Guitar Hero cheating scandals that have gone down that rabbit hole of a Guitar Hero cheater. There's there's so much. There's the freaking fake blindfolded Mario 64 speedrunner who wasn't.
Yes.
Really
oh yeah, that was from last year, a couple years ago. I remember that was a big deal. Yeah. No, but you've actually just reminded me of. Have you? There was a video that I watched that was breaking down the Tommy Tallarico. So the video, the original premise of the video was basically trying to figure out where the Roblox oof came from.
Okay.
And that led down the Tommy Tallarico rabbit hole. Mm-hmm. And you know who Tommy Tallarico is?
No.
The Tommy Tallarico is he was a video game composer. He had his own. He did Electric Playground with Victor Lucas on G4. He and Victor Lucas did that. Victor Lucas has his own YouTube channel now, where he still does Electric Playground. No Tommy Tallarico. I can't imagine why, but that's sarcastic. I can tell you why. Mm-hmm. Because Tommy Tallarico is a giant fraud.
Yeah.
He's maybe not a fraud, but no, he is a fraud now, a big fraudster, because the game system, the Intellivision Amico, was the thing that was supposed to be coming out where it was like touted as this like, oh, it's a family friendly console. We don't have games above E on our console. There's no online connectivity. You can only play in person. And the thing raised like I think something over like $10 to $12 million through various crowdfunding means.
Mm-hmm.
This console is never going to see the light of day for reasons we don't know. So who knows what that's all about?
Okay, so
but
wait, how did we get to this guy?
So Tommy Tallarico Studios is a sound engineering studios that Tommy Tallarico founded. He had a bunch of different sound engineers working on it, and for a video game that came out in like the early 2000s on the PS1 or like late 90s, early 2000 on the PS1 called Messiah, is the originator of that Roblox or the oof sound that's in Roblox. And so Roblox got this on a sound like a disc, like a CD that had a sound library CD that they bought, that they have the right that they bought, so they legally own that. But Tommy Tallarico was coming in and saying, "No, I own that. So Roblox, you're gonna have to pay me all of this money." It was like, in order for you to keep using it, I want you to pay me this money, and you can buy it outright. But so it then just descended down this huge rabbit hole of like figuring out like just Tommy Tallarico's giant history of lies and like complete lies, where he talked about how he worked on Metroid Prime, where he did not work on Metroid Prime. How Miyamoto single-handedly picked him to work on Metroid Prime, and he worked hand in hand with Miyamoto for 5 years on Metroid Prime, despite the fact that Shigeru Miyamoto did not work on Metroid Prime, and Retro Studios worked on Metroid Prime, probably because Miyamoto doesn't like Metroid, and it was just like, yeah, just shove it off to this Western studio because I don't really care about it. That's my assumption anyway, because I think Miyamoto does notoriously is not overly fond of Metroid. But he also didn't work on the game, and almost nobody at Tommy Tallarico Studios did. They worked on it in pre-production for like a few months, and then the in-house Retro Studio team may have used some of the sound effects that they came up with. But it's just like that's just one example. He has a huge laundry list of like tons of different lies that he's told and retold and regurgitated for the last 20 years. And this, so H Bomber Guy, I don't really like H Bomber Guy all that much for a lot of different reasons. I will say he does every once in a while will come out with a banger video that I really like. So, and this is one of them. I thought this video was awesome. Especially because like I found Tommy Tallarico a little bit distasteful for the so do you know Video Games Live, like concert series? There was actually a PBS I think there was like a PBS documentary about it, which was weird. It was like on PBS for a bit. Tommy Tallarico was like behind that. The thing that I always found like I didn't really like it was the fact that Tommy Tallarico always made Video Games Live like about him, which I thought was weird. Like it was almost that he was taking ownership of all of this game music, even though he composed music for like Earthworm Jim and like Advent Rising. And Advent Rising is a game that nobody remembers that Orson Scott Card wrote the story for. Earthworm Jim is, a beloved classic, but it's not like the most loved game of all time or anything. But
Super Mario.
It's not Super Mario. And so, well, Video Games Live, he would always come out on stage and like play with the band, and he'd be like, yeah. So it was always like, the thing that I always hated was that he always made it seem like it was about him, and I'm like, no, it should be about the music. Like, let the music. If you're gonna be an MC for something, don't make it about you. Make it about a love of the music, which is what, like, Distant Worlds concerts, Arnie Roth is always making it about the music. And sure, he will be like, me and Uematsu-san were working on stuff together, because they do actually legitimately work together. So it's like he can kind of just talk about that. And it's not like a brag or anything. He's just talking about like, I worked with Square Enix and with Nobuo Uematsu, but Tommy Tallarico is a has-been hack, fraud, man, liar.
We love a good fraud. Frauds are so
Yeah.
interesting because, and these liars and these cheaters, because it's like their whole existence is a lie. It's like all of your accomplishments come from like a lie for the most
Yeah.
part, like especially these speed runners that cheat and these records and whatnot. It's like, what, I don't know what they get out of like people thinking they're like the world record guy when it's like all a lie. Does it not weigh on you at all? It's like,
Especially because like with Tommy, it's like you should let your work speak for itself. Like people will love the stuff that you did in the games that you composed.
right.
If you just talk about that, like that, self-aggrandizing just like puts everyone off like horribly. And like especially because like he started taking credit specifically for like I made the Roblox oof, but he didn't. And you
I'm
can
that
and you
guy.
can and you can find out who made it. And I can't remember the name of the guy, unfortunately, um,
So that exact
but
sound
because
effect was just in some old game. Is that
who's in
what?
another game? Yes,
Huh.
yep.
Ooh.
And Tommy Tallarico Studios was behind that game. It was a guy that worked for him, an audio engineer that worked for him, made
Hmm.
the sound. But then he started taking credit for it, and it's like he owns the sound. And it's like, do you really own the sound? I guess because Tommy Tallarico Studios made the sound,
Do we
but
ever hear anything from the guy who actually made the sound?
uh, no, because he's just working on stuff. I think that guy's actually like working on Fortnite. Like he's still on like an
Okay.
active.
I just feel like
He's still
I didn't.
active in the industry.
Yeah, I didn't know he was that active. But just imagine some guy in like an old video game, just hearing his like sound effect is used and so popularized in Roblox. And I was that's familiar, but it's
Yeah,
so
no,
weird it's out there like that.
people that like the working like the people that are on the grind like in the industry,
Hmm.
like I don't necessarily know if they prefer it this way, but it's like they're letting their work speak for itself. And if it's a beloved sound effect, then sure, that's fine. But like it's to me, it's like sometimes it's you can know who did it because it's in the metadata in the audio library. You can tell who it is. Except if you go to Roblox now and you look at the metadata of that sound effect now, you see that Tommy Tallarico has now is the composer of that sound effect,
Hmm.
which I believe they worked with him. They've taken it out of the game and is now being planned on being implemented into the game via a DLC, like microtransaction riddled pack, where it's like you get the oof sound
All
effect
right.
in the game. So he also goes into like
Nice.
how messed up Roblox's monetization is,
Okay.
and how it's preying on children, and
Absolutely,
it's
as you should.
yeah,
When you're in that
as
industry, you just gotta
as
take
you should.
advantage of every every young child who plays your games. That's
That's right.
wonderful.
Yeah,
Yeah, just cheaters, frauds are interesting. They're fascinating.
yeah. It is
So
true. Well,
it's like
it's funny
always
because
draws me in. I mean, that's what drew me into chess. Like was from the whole Hans Niemann drama around him.
oh yeah, that was a big deal. Yeah,
That's like what got me into watching like all his videos on it. It was like went down that rabbit hole.
yeah.
Like
Well,
that's
Charlie
so interesting.
keeps talking about frauds
Yeah.
on his channel. So like I have to watch all those too because I'm like this is it's fascinating to me that people who like try to get ahead, but it's like so obvious
Yeah,
when they're
it'll always catch up to you, and
yeah
then it's just like you're like, what are you getting out of that? You're just literally ruined. No one respects you
yeah
at that point. I want to know like what there's got to be cheaters out there who completely got away with stuff. So that would be really
mm,
interesting to know. Like there's like records out there that never get challenged that were not done legitimately. You know, and athletes and stuff. Um, with the whole Lance Armstrong stuff like that never would have
yeah
even come out if it weren't for like a guilty conscience, you know. It's like so it's so interesting. But yeah. Anyway, what else we got to talk about? I mean, for me, I also wanted to talk about Netflix. Okay, so
oh password sharing
yeah, I just find this very interesting because Netflix was in such a powerhouse position in the industry. You know, they paved the way.
five not even 5 years ago like
Yeah,
5 years ago they were like Netflix killing it. Stranger Things is hot. It's hot off the presses. It's going strong.
Little by
We've got some
little,
other really
there's these little things. It's
yeah.
like, well, for me, it was like the price kept just increasing. You know, there'd just be like, surprise, it's going up another dollar. It's going up another dollar. Now it's like, let me know how much now a month.
I think is it like up to 15 or 16 now?
It's got to be
It
something like
was
that.
it was $9.99 a month.
Yeah,
It was
and
great. It was a great deal.
they just keep pushing their luck, and they're at the point where there's so much competition. It's the most highly contested point for streaming services. There's like so many options to the point where
Yeah.
there's too many options, and you have to like pick one over the other. You can't. Most people can't do all of them. So it's now that this whole news came out, this was always like talked about in the past. With like they want to crack down on sharing passwords and stuff, and people are like, how are they gonna do that? That's not practical. So like, okay, go ahead and try. But then there's like more news coming out of them like legitimately wanting to do that to to like stop it. Like,
To me, it's what's kind of interesting is like a few years back, they're on their Twitter account. It's like love is sharing a password.
right? I mean, that's like the brand of Netflix. That's like what it's all about, whether they like it or not. And
It's
now,
like they don't. It's
yeah,
like Netflix doesn't like college students. They don't like people that work away from home. They don't like. They don't like long distance couples. They don't like people going on vacation or business
right.
trips. They don't like any of those
Yeah,
people. I guess.
it's rough. Like, yeah, it feels like if their wallet was really hurting, this is not the way to do it. This is horrible optics. I feel like it's legitimately will turn people off from Netflix. We're at the point where Netflix doesn't have a chokehold on the industry. People can easily say, okay, well, there's not that much keeping me to Netflix. All right, forget about
Yeah.
it. I'll go to something else. And you're really gonna like put your foot down, like stop sharing our passwords. We're gonna take measures to prevent this. It's like such horrible optics. I don't know. I feel like they're doing a lot
I mean,
more
like,
damage than good to their name.
I mean, think of it. Even think of it like as if you're like extremely. As another example, what if you're extremely wealthy and you have multiple homes? I deal with customers at my job. I'm at second homes all the time.
Well, if you're wealthy, then you can
They're
have
telling
multiple
me
accounts.
that you just have multiple accounts. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't think they'll like that. People like to have their money.
That's not the example I care about. I care about the people who like share because that's the way they use it.
No. But I'm just saying
Yeah.
there's tons of examples
Yeah.
of like legitimate reasons instead of just like handing out your password to everyone. Because like I don't know anyone that really even does that. Like I know it happens. I know it has to happen. But like I don't know of it being this like an actual problem.
I
Like
mean, families
okay,
do
like
it, couples do it.
yeah, families and couples. What's wrong with that?
Because imagine a family of 5. That should be 5 separate Netflix accounts. How dare you?
Well, boo hoo.
Like that's
They're
the
gonna
thing.
lose.
Yeah,
They're just gonna lose the money anyway
that's
at
what
that
I'm
point.
saying. It just
It's
did. I
just
don't know
like
how they came to this like conclusion that
it's
this was the
so.
right move. Because literally,
It's,
you're about to just lose your whole stake in the industry. It's like keep up, man. You're not the big dog no more. There's a lot
yeah.
out there. Like you're still number one probably. I don't know, but
I don't know. I don't know. I
I
mean,
don't know how Disney
they
Plus is compared to it, but
well, they wanted a bigger and bigger piece of the pie, or other rather, other people wanted bigger pieces of the pie than Netflix, because I think Netflix wasn't necessarily giving them all a fair shake. So they're like, fine, I'll do it myself. They Thanosed it. And yeah, I mean, there's been some streaming services out there that have been killing it. I feel like Disney Plus is really probably the best example. I feel like you can have like tons of different accounts on one, like profiles on one account.
because
There's
that's the thing is like even with streaming services, stuff is moving around so much. It's not like you just can rely on these things are going to be there. Like the only thing you can rely on with Netflix are like their originals, which are great. You know, you have your Stranger Things will always be there and stuff like that. But it's like
other
Netflix
than
is always dropping stuff. You know, you're losing stuff all the time. They lost The Office.
yeah,
That was like the biggest loss they could have gotten. It So it's like at this point you're like moving wherever the shows are going anyway. You know, it's you go where you need to go, and now you're gonna act like you need us. So stop sharing your passwords and get yourself your own account. It's like, no, you're not seeing it.
They paid like 500. Wasn't it like some ridiculous amount of money? It was like millions and millions, like hundreds of millions of dollars for Friends or whatever. Did they do that at
I
one
don't
point?
know, probably.
They paid like hundreds of millions of dollars to get the streaming rights for Friends.
There's
They did something
Seinfeld.
recently with Seinfeld. Yep, they got Seinfeld. Except they can't even stream Seinfeld in 4:3 aspect ratio, which that actually bothers me. It's like, do what? So, and that's something that is something Disney fixed. Disney has The Simpsons. You can choose to watch it in the 16:9, the widescreen pan and scan zoom format, or you can watch it in the original aspect ratio. Originally, it launched with just the 69. It was only a couple of weeks after it launched. They were like, "Yeah, we heard you. We'll broadcast it in both." And it was like, "Great." I don't know why they can't do that with Seinfeld. Like, it's literally just a little option that you should be able to toggle.
Like Netflix still has an angle that like it's not like Disney Plus is gonna push them out because Disney Plus is a very specific
Oh no,
audience.
Disney does have its specificness. They will pay for licenses for certain things.
For certain things, but like there's a
yeah.
lot of stuff that's you would only see on a Netflix kind of streaming service. You know, like your Stranger Things and your more dramatic like drama
Squid
series
Game.
and and then like their good documentary series like Making a Murderer and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still other competition coming up for that and like in other areas.
Yeah, and they're canceling series left and right, like all the time. Like, what was that, 1899 or whatever it is? That got canceled after one season. I've heard that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like Apple TV Plus is apparently like a lot of the shows on there are really great. The one I want to watch the most is Severance with Adam Scott. I've heard that is like amazing. But you've got like them. HBO Max is kind of in an interesting, also weird scenario too, where they canceled like tons and tons and tons of shows during their Discovery merger. And I think they recently said that they're not merging the services together now, or something. I was just reading something the other day, and I was like, "What the heck was all that about?" Then you canceled all these shows, and yeah.
I do still think Netflix is probably the best, but my point is that like it's not clear anymore. It's not like by a mile they've got everything, but.
Yeah, I guess it is always dependent on what you're looking for, but like if you're gonna keep hiking prices and you're gonna keep canceling shows that people are interested in, while getting it's another season of Love Is Blind. Oh boy. This is
yeah. It's it's like one of those things where I was like hesitant to jump on the streaming service bandwagon years ago, but now it is the norm. And I still am not in love with like the whole like having to binge watch stuff because like they'll drop every episode of something at once, and it's like you don't want to get things spoiled, so they expect you to binge watch stuff like that. But I got on board and everything. But it's just like more and more they're doing these things, and for me the streaming service is the biggest downside is that stuff. It's like you're never sure how long something's gonna be on there.
Yeah.
Even with something like Disney Plus is like dropping things. Why is Disney Plus dropping things? You have this stuff. I'm like,
there's still like Disney properties that just aren't on Disney Plus. Like maybe like on the more obscure side, but like you surely have access to this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like why isn't it on there? And there's some weird examples of that. Like none that I can remember off the top of my head, but there's some stuff that's like, why is this not on Disney Plus? It's very
I really don't like
odd.
it. Now I'm at a point where like because I'm sharing all these accounts with my family, I'm able to access most of these streaming services. So usually it's like one is dropped off one, you have to go to another, find where it is. I always have to Google like where to stream this, and some stuff is like on the weird like Voodoo, like random streaming service. And I'm like, okay, you just have to find because stuff's dropping here, and then it pops up on Hulu the next month. It's
you
can never like get on with one streaming service and know what you're gonna have the next month.
it's super unreliable. Well, okay, here's an example. So Disney has access to the X-Men film. So I started while I was sick. I started watching the X-Men movies because I've never watched any of those before. Never seen any of them. So I don't know why I'm out of focus. Oh, there we go. I'm back. So I started watching the X-Men movies. Disney only has access to some of the X-Men movies. They only have access to X-Men 1 and 2. They don't have access to X-Men: The Last Stand, which, to be perfectly fair, it's a terrible movie, so I don't blame them. So, but I had to get. So I was like, okay, well, they're on Prime, but they're only kind of on Prime because I then had to pay for a Showtime account.
Yeah, the extension.
I had to get a Showtime extension, like a DLC. I had to get the Showtime DLC on top of to just watch 3 movies because I had watched X-Men: The Last Stand, X-Men Origins Wolverine, and X-Men First Class. None of those were on Disney Plus, but then all of the other ones are. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. I don't know if I can't remember if Disney. I don't think Disney has Deadpool or Deadpool 2. I don't remember, but but they do have Logan, which is their R-rated one. That's I think when they first implemented I think like a first sort of content filter or something, or it's like confirm the age of this account. I think there's like a you can only access it if your account is a certain age. There's stuff like Logan showing up on there because Logan's rated R. So, but anyway.
But yeah, even if you view it from the Tarqaron perspective, like we want to watch a movie series, it's like, okay, where's this streaming? Oh, this one has like 1, 2, 4, and 5, but then this one has 3 and 6, and then this one's not streaming at all. It's like there's just like so spotty.
Wasn't that happen? Did that happen with Shrek? I mean, you didn't have an issue because you had them all on Blu-ray.
But I don't know what you had to go through.
I had to hop around all kinds of hoops. I mean, I think I had to rent 2 or 3 of them, and then some of them I was able to get on Prime for free, and then it was such a headache.
So I mean, that brings me to something I've been watching. I wanted to talk about anyway, which is completely out of left field.
Okay,
that's the Jackass movies.
What? Okay, yeah, that definitely came out of left field. Why are you watching these?
Got the itch. Someone was talking about it on a podcast that I was listening to. This is like an old podcast I'm catching up on. They were talking about it like a couple of years ago. And like they're just talking about it. I'm like, you know what? I'm just kind of in the mood to watch something random. And I knew my sister always watched them when she was like a teenager and I was younger. But like I never really watched them fully. You know, I knew of shows like Viva La Bam, which she also watched a lot, and MTV shows like that. But I just sat down and watched every Jackass movie. All right, so Paramount Plus has 1, 2, and 4, but doesn't have 3. So I had to rent 3 on YouTube to watch that. There was like nowhere else.
So is it Jackass 1, 2, 3, 4? Aren't there offshoot movies isn't there like a Grandpa or something like that?
Bad Grandpa, which I haven't watched.
Bad Grandpa. Yeah, that's an offshoot, right? I think
it is like a spin-off based on one of the bits in there. But like this is a wild card for me. I always knew that they just like did stupid stuff and got themselves hurt. But I did not know like the amount of stuff they were shoving up their butt and doing stuff with their penis. I'm like, wow, there's a lot of this.
Were they like sounding? Is that like that kind of? They're doing stuff with that, or
what do you mean?
Do you know what sounding is?
No.
Or we're not going to go into it. We'll talk about it later.
Sounding. Like so, there's just like so outrageous. There's such like gross stuff in there that like I'm like, certain people could not watch this. If you have a weak stomach, there's no way you can watch it. But they have Jackass 1, 2, and 3, which was like 2002, 2006, 2012. And then they just did one last year, Jackass Forever, which was 10 years after the Jackass 3. So they're all older now, which is so interesting. But it's like, I was all in for it. I just went down this huge rabbit hole. I've been watching like interviews and stuff. I'm like, all right. I mean, I kind of get it. It's weird, but I get it. I don't understand why it's so fun to watch, but it is. They're just willing to. There's like it's like a variant on like a a daredevil or a stunt performer kind of thing. It's like literally just hurting themselves or sometimes just doing funny bits like in public for our own amusement. Like, okay, I'll take it.
Like, I guess whatever you wanna,
I don't know,
what
but
you
like
wanna do with
I'm
your
never a fan
life.
of the freaking poop stuff. They do stuff with poop, and like
Yeah, that's a step too far.
that's rough for me to watch. But the stuff with like getting hit by bowls and like getting punched in the dick multiple times, crazy stuff like that. There's some really hard stuff to watch, and it's not hard. It's not easy to make me like cringe and like be hard to watch stuff. But there was one thing with Jackass Forever where they had a guy. It's called the Cup Test, which was like a reference to the thing from like years ago, back when they started. But it's just a dude wearing a cup, and they got a heavyweight boxer to punch him. That was the first thing, just
Okay.
full on punch. And then there's like a professional softball player like hitting a ball into it. And then the worst one to watch though was a freaking pogo stick. A pogo stick, and
On the cup?
on the cup, and it got stuck on his testicle, like
Oh
on
no!
the side, and apparently he like ruptured it. He had to go to the hospital.
Yeah,
Ruptured
yeah,
testicle.
you can.
But I'm like, Jesus, I was like, there's no way this ends well. Freaking pogo stick. But
Yeah,
I mean, it's
no.
crazy. I'm just like went into this whole rabbit hole of like 20 years of Jackass. Now.
Yeah, what's his? Who are all the people that are involved? I mean, there's a lot of different. I guess there are a lot of different people. I'm trying to think of.
Steve-O.
Steve-O is the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Steve-O. Yeah,
Steve-O.
he's great. Wee Man is awesome. I love Wee Man. He seems like a really nice guy. Both of them were in Tony Hawk games as characters too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Steve-O was always in Tony Hawk's Underground 2. I love that game. And he's like a secret character. You can unlock him on a mechanical bull. And, you know, I always knew he was just like a crazy guy who does crazy stuff, but I never really knew him. And I was like, oh, Steve-O.
I knew him from that, and then I also some of me and a certain friend group's favorite trash to watch is L.A. Inc. And so Steve-O shows up in that a couple of times. I think Steve-O like dated Kat Von D, or maybe got married to her at one point. Also, which is just a side note on that, but
there's a few cool guys, and like most of them came back. One of them had passed away, which was Brian Dunn.
Right, I was gonna say. I think I remember one of them passed away.
But and then Bam Margera was in the original ones, but he's been going through like a lot of like substance abuse issues, like very publicly and stuff like that. So he was originally gonna be on Jackass Forever, but they removed him from it because he wouldn't get clean in time to do it, basically. So.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you ever watched any of those?
I was never really that interested in it. Like, to me, it was always like it was always like one of those things where like I know like kids at school would talk about it, and I was kind of like laughed and thought it was like kind of funny, but like I was just never really had that much of an interest to watch it. Right. It's like one of those things where it's like, man, I see people hurt themselves in the gym all the time. I don't need to see. I don't need to see people do that.
It seems very immature, and it's like I was always like I always felt, even if I didn't say it, I was like I'm above that kind of thing, you know. Nah.
Yeah.
It's like that's like actual douchebag behavior, but it's like there's a certain charm to it when you watch it because it's called Jackass. They acknowledge that it's like they're being jackasses.
Yeah.
But none of it is like harming other people. You know, it's like they're subjecting themselves to it, and it's like, even their public pranks for the most part are like harmless. They're like them just doing crazy stuff like in public.
Right.
And if they'll do some stuff where there's like property damage to like public places, like in the very first Jackass movie, they rented a car and just like threw it in a car derby and just destroyed it, and they brought it back to the car rental place, and he was like, I hit a dog, I don't know, and he's like, I don't know, I can't pay for it. I was hoping you guys would be able to help me like foot the bill on it. It was just destroyed, but they always pay for it off camera, but they get the reactions first. But so there's a certain charm to it, you know. It's like this legitimately stuff I would never do, and it's fun to watch.
Well, that's the kind of stuff that's fascinating to me about, and I've never seen really any of his stuff, but like the Sacha Baron Cohen's sort of,
Right,
like
Borat.
a lot of the Borat
Borat is
or
great.
yeah, like I've never like gone and seen any of those, but like to me that's like the step where I'd be like, okay, I find that like a little bit more interesting
Mm-hmm.
because it's like him going as a character and fooling people, basically being this character.
Right.
And some of it's scripted, but some of it's more than you maybe would think of it is not
Yeah,
scripted.
most of it is not. It's
Um,
just like
yeah.
yeah. That's like shades, very much shades of that with like their bad grandpa character, because they just
Hmm.
do bits of that of like him being like a crazy old guy, like, or like or like giving his like kid cigarettes and alcohol and stuff, you know.
See, that's funny. That's,
He's like kissing like this young woman just posing as like his granddaughter. It's like stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Basically, like social preying on social taboos and shock
Yeah.
humor, but like to a yeah. I don't know. That to me is a little bit more. I've always found maybe a little more interesting, but
So yeah, I still want to watch Bad Grandpa. I haven't watched it yet.
yeah.
And there's like point fives where they have like Jackass 4.5, which is like
Hmm.
basically another movie with just a bunch of all the extra stuff they left out. So
Okay.
I never watched any of those. Kind of want to watch those too.
Huh.
I feel like that would be a random series to review. I don't even know how you go about reviewing it,
Yeah. How do you even review that?
but
Yeah.
I think that would be fun because it's like every bit that has like a name to it. It's like hey,
Hmm.
I'm Johnny Knoxville, and this is the freaking poo poo shoot. Like they have random names like that. Steve-O got freaking launched in a porta potty filled with dog poop all along the bottom. Got launched up, and it bungeed back down, and all the poop went down on him, and
Of
like
course it did.
everywhere. Just freaking disgusting. There's like just legitimately just do stuff that where everybody just starts throwing up just from seeing it, like
Oh
witnessing it.
yeah.
The freaking cameraman will they'll
It's
cut
like
to the cameraman. He's like freaking hurling, falling
retching
over.
over. Yeah.
Yeah,
Of
some
course. I
foul
mean, that's
stuff.
yeah. That's gross.
They do like completely dangerous, stupid stuff, and then it'll cut to like something disgusting.
Mm.
You know, that's been my kick that I've been on recently. Yeah.
Trying to think if there's really any kick that I've been on in particular. Not not really hugely that I can think of,
hmm
but
Um,
um,
other than that, I played this game with my brother, completely unrelated, but it's called Escape Academy, which is an escape room
okay,
game.
I like
I
those.
was looking all over for like a good escape room cooperative kind of game. I was like,
Hmm.
if you're not able to actually go to escape room, not just like some cheap there's like the board games you can play and stuff. I'm like, I'm not huge fan of those. If I could play
Really,
a video
I
game, I'm more into that if I could find a good one.
okay. I like Exit. Those are pretty good
Hmm.
ones. Those ones are really pretty affordable, because you destroy them. They're basically a one-time use.
Yeah.
But Unlock is another really good one that I reckon. Those are all like great. Every one of those that I played is excellent.
Hmm.
That one's very app like focused. But there's a lot of physical stuff that you can like tool around with and stuff as well. But yeah, to each their own. I mean, I think those are a decent stand-in at the very least. But so what is this? This is a video game then,
It's a
like
video
escape
game.
room.
Yeah. It's like it's pretty legit. Like yeah, I'm from what I briefly read, it's like made by people who were part of making escape rooms and stuff. So it's very much in that spirit. Very much a lot of stuff feels like stuff you would do in escape rooms, but it just has a little bit of a story to it, like where you're going to this place called Escape Academy, and you have to do these like tests to basically become an escape master. So there's different escape rooms you have to do, and
You two could be a true Harry Houdini.
it's cool. You can play solo or cooperative, and
Hmm.
you can. We did a local split screen. You can do it online.
Mm-hmm.
However, and at school you pick up items, you get interact with stuff. Just very much escape room in the escape room vein. But we blazed through. We were killing it. We did every escape room. You get graded on it. We got an A+ every time. There was a timer. We never really came close to it running out. But we basically came to the conclusion that you get an A+ as long as you don't use any hints. So we didn't use any hints. And then it was like a perfect record until the very last escape room, which is like a huge, challenging one, where it was like came down to like 30 seconds. We were freaking scrambling. We were right at the end, like one last thing to do, and we just barely missed out on it. And so we had to start again, and they like added 5 minutes, and then we just like finished it, and it took like 15 seconds after we started again. But that's how close we were to a perfect everything, and just blew it at the end. It gave us like a B+ or something. But it's like it was weird because it's like you can replay levels to like get better time or score or grade. I'm like, why would we ever do that?
Yep.
What the escape room?
What purpose?
We can redo an escape room.
What purpose could there be to that?
Like, what are you gonna?
Yeah,
do?
I've only done a couple of actual escape rooms. Actually, I think the only ones that I've ever done were ones that we did for a bachelor party for my friend Wesley, and we did a VR one, and we did an actual like tangible one. Both very fun. I liked both of them quite a lot.
Yeah, we love escape rooms.
So, yeah, escape rooms are great. And there was an escape room. I actually have not looked up this at all recently. But my brother and sister-in-law for Christmas got me like a 2-person pass to go to an escape room in a town that's near me. But this was for Christmas of 2019. And I didn't really get a chance to use it before the entire world shut down. So I don't even know if that place exists anymore. Honestly, it probably doesn't. So
tough.
That's unfortunate, but yeah.
There's some cool ones out there that I really want to go to. Like if we ever meet up for something, we should.
100%. We gotta go do one. Absolutely. Yeah. So that'd be great.
Yeah. The last thing I wanted to mention in terms of stuff I've been playing, I tried playing Shrek Treasure Hunt, which was a game that was in our Shrek edition of Box Art Battles, the series we do. There's one of the games on there. That's the one I've bought by far the most games from Box Art Battles. I remember sending a picture. It was like so many that I bought. I was just so like right on my alley. Shrek licensed games looked like they could be fun. I bought a ton of them, but I was in the mood to play one of those hidden object games for some reason, and I was like, maybe Shrek Treasure Hunt is that. Surely it's that, but it's not. I couldn't make 5 minutes into it. It was like so horrible to control. It's hard to even describe what kind of game it is. It's like I guess an adventure game. It's like a horrible version of like a Banjo-Kazooie kind of game.
Yeah, I watched a long play of it. It looked really bad. I was like, I don't think I could stand this for more than 5 minutes. I could deal with
janky games, but it was actually just painful. I've never quit on a game quicker than that. Wow, good purchase that I got there.
Yeah.
They have these mini games that are like really not.
That was it. It's like all like mini games or whatever. It's like you would go to it looked bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's that. I mean, did you have anything you wanted to highlight in the stuff you watched?
I mean, I've been playing Forspoken.
Forsaken on the PS1.
No, I've been playing Forspoken.
That's what I think.
Just the game the AAA game that came out that I probably didn't sell very well. Everyone is dunking on it for a lot of different reasons. I mean, it's by no means a perfect game. I have my fair share of issues with it, but I feel like I really like it. I think it's fun. Is it going to be in my game of the year contention? Probably not. We've got Zelda, we've got Final Fantasy, we've got Hogwarts Legacy, which just came out too, which I haven't been able to spend any time on.
I can't play it because I don't have a PS5 or a Series X, and the PS4 version comes out in April. So
Oh yeah,
I'm
I don't
waiting.
know why they delayed that. Isn't there? Is there supposed to be a Nintendo Switch
So
version
Switch
too?
version like a couple months after that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I can't. I don't even know how they're gonna do that. It's like that game looks beautiful.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't been able to put any time in that. And then Jen's challenge game, I've been putting some time in Epic Mickey. That's been fun.
I've been playing mine too. Yeah.
I mean, other than X-Men, there's not really a whole lot. I mean, I'm making my way through Breaking Bad. I feel like once I finish Breaking Bad, we can devote some time here to talk about it. It'll probably be next month.
Hmm.
Because I'm on season 5 now.
So good.
Se- End of season 4 was like the best TV I've ever seen in my
Yeah.
life. It's like it's amazing. Last 3 episodes are like perfect television. So we'll see next month. We'll kind of go into my thoughts on that one then.
Right.
I'm just trying to think if there's really anything else. I mean, my New York trip, I went and saw Phantom on Broadway. It's closing fairly soon. It was an amazing experience. It was like
Nice.
I'd never seen a show on Broadway before, so it was
Nice.
like getting to see that in one of its like last showings, at least in its run. I feel like it's gonna come back eventually. Um,
Right.
but the
Right.
fact that it was still like that original, like all the stages, all the like props and everything, all that stuff is like still like a lot of the class. I mean, there's been like alterations and revampments to it, but nothing that's like it's not like been like restaged, and there's not like a drastically new production. It's been ongoing for 30 years, which is crazy. Um, but it was amazing. I mean, it was just my the whole trip was 100% worth it for that. Like that was a Christmas present to me for to go see it and for my parents, and it was amazing.
Good
I
thing.
would
Yeah.
not.
Good thing you got that. Like you
Yeah.
didn't have COVID before then, and just like
Oh
awful
yeah.
timing.
That would have been the worst because I wouldn't be able to do anything.
Yeah.
We would have had to go home basically. Like it would have been. Yeah, I'm so glad. That was the one thing I was like. After I was like starting to get better, I was like, I was still like I absolutely don't think I get it in New York, but that New York trip was worth this illness. Like that, like I'm gonna remember that all of that for the rest of my life. Like that was it was amazing.
Nice.
I get to go see the Nintendo store, the Nintendo World Store. That was
Mm.
a lot of fun. I get to buy some import Japanese books as well at Kinokuniya, which is a bookstore that probably is a good thing it doesn't exist anywhere near me because I would spend like all of my money there. I already spent like I spent way too much money there, but um, uh, God, yeah, I want to go back. I can all I can think about is just like going back and be like, man, I want to buy more of these books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Um, it was great. We had a wonderful time.
I'm sad I never got to talk about it last year. We went.
Yeah.
I took my girlfriend on a trip to New York,
Hmm.
and uh, I got us tickets to see The Lion King on Broadway. That was my
Mm.
first Broadway show. That was amazing. That's
Yeah.
like musically is awesome. I love like I don't get. I mean, I've never seen Broadway before. I don't get to see like plays or any sort of stage performance like at all outside of like when I was in high school, you know. So, but there's something so special about like seeing stuff in that live venue, and like
Mm.
the costume design and like these huge freaking like uh what do you call them, like set pieces for
The staging, the sets. Yeah.
like huge elephant coming out and all these freaking huge animals.
Oh yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, like my girlfriend is a dancer. She always said she would like to be on The Lion King on Broadway. It would be like a dream for her. So
Mm.
that's why I got us tickets for that. It was awesome.
Yeah. That's so. The week before I went, um, there was one of the houses I was at. There was a customer. I think she was just sort of generally asking about like Christmas and stuff, and I mentioned that. I think I just mentioned that me and my folks are going to be going the next week to New York, and then I got in this like long conversation with her about like her son was like on Broadway. He was in a play that was like written by like Aaron Sorkin, and like she like talked about how she would like people watch and see what celebrities were like in the audience. She get to meet like Steven Spielberg, and I was just like, this is an amazing story. And she talks about all like the shows that she saw on Broadway and everything. And so stuff that she said are like the must sees are like Phantom, obviously, Lion King, Wicked, and Hamilton are
Right.
like the big ones that you got to go see. So I was like, Hamilton, yes. I mean, that's still, you got to pay out the nose to get tickets to that still.
Mm-hmm.
So but that's a someday. I would love to go see that
For
someday.
sure.
That'd be amazing. But yeah, no, I'm so happy Phantom was great. We also got to go to the Metropolitan Museum of Art, which was lovely. They had a very nice exhibit on the kimono design. That was like in their Japan section. They had like stuff all about like kimonos, and that was really nice, very interesting. I wish there had been, because I know that they have one of the Great Waves, one of the prints of the Great Waves there at in the collection, but that was not on display, so I was a little bummed about that. The Great Wave of Hokusai, but I got to geek out on all the ancient Egypt stuff, all the like ancient world things they had out there.
Yeah,
But
that's awesome.
my dad unfortunately missed out because he had wanted to see their ancient Near East exhibits, so like the Mesopotamian stuff. But that entire section is going to be closed until 2026.
Wow.
And we were like, "What?" I was like, "I've never seen that before in my life." Like most of the time when they close these, it's like for maybe like
Yeah.
6 months to a year or something. But it's like, "Come see us in 2026," and I was like, people are going to be like dead before they're able to go see
That's
it,
right.
go to see this. It's like, I was like, that was legitimately disappointing because my brother got us all tickets to go to there.
Yeah.
And then my dad couldn't see the thing he wanted to see the most there. I was like, oh, that's
That's
kind of
great.
sad.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's nice. I
Yeah.
mean, like we talk about art in on this channel in terms of video games,
Mm,
movies, television, but
yeah.
those are specific forms of art that like you don't get to see every day. It's like museums, art
Yeah.
exhibits, and like
I,
Broadway
I,
productions. They're all like
yeah. They're the fine arts, right?
right.
And that to me is like I love museums. I love museums. I don't get to talk about them enough, but I'm going to PAX this year, and I'm hoping that if my friend Josh puts me up, he has talked about that he wants to take me to the Providence Whaling Museum that I only just found out about like a
Uh
couple
huh.
weeks ago, and I'm like, there's a whaling museum. I want to go to that. Because I love stuff about like ships and sailing. Whaling is really fascinating to me as well. It's a very New England thing.
You're a
Um,
big Jacques Cousteau fan.
I'm a big
We stand the
we stand
documentarians,
Jacques.
the
I mean,
humanitarians.
I love me some ships, you know.
Right.
So I want to see some whaling stuff. That's great. That's cool. Great.
We should
So
review Titanic.
okay. Oh,
That was another kick
before
I
we
got on, a weird dark kick that I went down. I was looking at like survivor stories and like of like the
of like
Titanic.
the
Yeah.
Titanic. Okay. Have you ever heard of the tragedy of the whale ship Essex? That's a tragedy
I
right
haven't.
there. That's a so like a sperm whale sunk a ship, and the whale ship Essex and the survivors were finally rescued at sea. I think it was like I can't remember how many months after the wreck happened. But like they had to survive by like cannibalizing. Like there was like the only survivors like basically 8 people that died or whatever.
Hmm.
They had to eat them more or less because the people that rescue them described like coming across them, and like one of them is like sucking on like the marrow of one of the bones of the people. But and they were like they're like almost completely crazed and
Jesus.
wild at that point.
Yeah.
Um, and eventually they reintegrated into society after some time, and I'm sure. However, mental health was not really a thing at that period of time, so I can't remember all the specific details about like how they were able to reintegrate and everything into society. Probably not very well, um,
Right.
but that's a thing, and I'm sure that's discussed a lot at the Whaling Museum, which is one of the reasons why I'd like to go. But speaking of Titanic and James Cameron, we can just talk about this very briefly because I don't have too much to say about it. I saw Avatar: The Way of Water. It was pretty good.
Did you
The
take a
plot.
bathroom break, and are you going to go back to see what you miss?
No, I mean, I want to go see it in IMAX. The only thing is that because I didn't get to go see it in IMAX, me and my friend Dan were going to. For some reason that I was never clearly explained, we couldn't do that. So we saw it in 3D, and what we didn't know ahead of time, I think the only form of 3D it is, like the only way it was in 3D is because it was filmed in IMAX 3D. So we watched it on a normal widescreen theater, but it was like cut off. The aspect ratio was cut. So we were watching like a 4:3 or whatever the IMAX ratio is. I can't remember exactly what it is. So we're watching that on a 16:9 or like a super like a widescreen. So it was very weird.
Just as Cameron intended it. As he intended it.
Yeah, just as intended. And it was pretty good. The story was better than the first one, but that's not really saying that much because I don't really remember. I mean, the first one has such a simple, dumb as bread. I mean, the movie in this one is the plot in this one is still not good. It's still paper thin. Mm-hmm. But one of the best looking movies I've ever seen in my life. Gorgeous, beautiful, stunning. The best special effects I've ever seen. I'm
gonna wait to watch it. I'm gonna wait to watch it on a CRT.
I was gonna be like, watching a CRT in full screen.
It's the only way to watch that.
It's the only way to.
Really appreciate
it. I mean, I'd like to go see it in actual IMAX. I don't know if I'm gonna get the opportunity to do that. It's probably gonna have to be this weekend with my family, but I don't know if we're gonna make that happen or not.
Such a sellout. Gonna go double dip on it. It needs the money. Over $2 billion. Oof.
Yeah.
It's literally up there. Like, do you look at the most highest grossing movies? It's Avengers Endgame and then James Cameron. Yeah. That's actually what it is now.
Well, he re-released Titanic, so that's, But I guess they re-released Endgame, so.
Well, did they re-release Avatar? The original?
I think they did. Yeah, they did. He did.
Technically, by those standards, that's number one. Because I saw a new ranking. Like, why isn't Endgame not number one anymore? But yeah, so that's technically number one if you can include all that. But it's
he did re-release Avatar.
So funny. James Cameron just has all the top spots and just Endgame snuck up in there. So interesting.
Hey man, I'm waiting for you and Robert Rodriguez's Blood Oath to make another Alita movie. I'm waiting for that. Waiting for the day. That Alita Battle Angel is an amazing movie, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. So.
But I was rewatching, I was watching someone actually doing a reaction to Titanic, and so that's what got me hooked on going down that rabbit hole of real survivor stories. But I still think this is a great movie. I'd like to watch it again, personally.
I've never seen it, so I guess I can't say. Yeah, but
look at you.
You're
giving off hater vibes before you even seen it.
Because
you tell me you don't make an opinion before seeing a movie.
I've never said that I don't make an opinion before seeing a movie. I've never said that.
Well, because we said that when Dubs was here. It was like you were like, I think I'm pretty good about not judging something based on just like what I've heard or whatever. I'm like, no, this is your problem.
Okay.
This is your problem, and we're seeing it now.
Look, I have seen enough of that movie. I've never seen it in full, but I've seen enough of the movie to make at least some sort of determination.
Your tragic flaw. We could not even watch it and trust that your review is fair and just now. You immediately are gonna go in, and it's gonna be like 6 out of 10.
Maybe I'll shock you. Maybe I'll like it. Hey, I was shocked by Shrek. I'm coming back and watching those. Dang, yo.
Yeah.
I like those movies a lot more than I thought I was going to.
That's true. You did.
That's something.
Actually give some good scores.
Yeah.
You put some respect on Shrek's name, finally.
Yeah.
But I think
respect the Shrek.
Titanic is kind of a beautiful movie to me. I think it's a really nice love story. If you just look at it as that. But
is it?
Yeah. It's nice.
Doesn't she
She kills him.
Cheat on her fiance?
Her
Doesn't she like cheat
fiance
on
was
her fiance?
abusive, though. Like, I'm not gonna get mad at her for cheating on, on her fiance, who pulled a gun at the end and tried to kill her.
Okay, yeah,
But
okay, that's messed up. I didn't know about that.
yeah.
Jeez, I guess I don't blame her now.
It was like it was basically like a forced marriage sort of situation. So like I can't,
No, yeah, yeah,
I'm not gonna hold it against her. Like
yeah.
anyway.
Isn't that what's his who's the in that who is he in that? I'm trying to remember who plays the who is that?
I forget
Because I
his
think
name.
because I think he's in Kingdom Hearts. I think he plays Ansem in the first Kingdom Hearts
I
game.
wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know that.
Shoot. Oh, this is gonna bother me until I look it up. Shoot. Ansem Kingdom
Handsome
Hearts.
man.
Ansem the handsome. Billy Zane. That's it. Billy
Billy
Zane.
Zane.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Billy Zane is the bad guy in that.
Well, let's get to talking about Nintendo Directs. All right, there was a Nintendo
Okay.
Direct that came out on February 8th.
Okay.
We're finally getting to talk about it here. Some good stuff came of it, right? What'd you think?
I still find it really interesting that like how little we still kind of know about Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah, it's like
Really, it's fascinating how little we still know about it. Like at this point, like with Breath of the Wild, like we knew a lot of stuff about that game. We don't know much about this game still. Like we know like vagueness about it. Ganondorf is apparently voiced by Matt Mercer.
Oh.
I've watched hundreds of hours of Critical Role. I know what that voice sounds like. So that's 100% who that is. There was nothing confirming it, but that's who it is. I mean, it just was like.
Oh, I will say I did actually watch
neat.
a couple episodes of Critical Role the past month.
Oh, okay.
I went back to the very beginning though, which I've done a couple times actually.
Ooh, it's tough. You can skip. Feel free to skip the first arc. It's fine.
Really?
Just,
I like seeing things from the beginning. And seeing
Okay, but you're already partway through the story now as it is because they're in the middle of a story arc basically when they started. But regardless,
anyway.
Yeah, I mean that was cool. Shadow dropping Metroid Prime remaster, that was kind of dope. Pikmin 4 looks incredible.
It does. Pikmin is one of those games where it's like, it never really was like my favorite game, but every time I see one, it's like Pikmin 3 from what I played of it was really good, and I think Pikmin 2 was really good. Pikmin the original I didn't really like so much because of the time limit. I don't like that element of it. I mean, it's fun as like a game element, but for me personally, playing a game, I don't like it. So it's like I've dabbled in each Pikmin game, and like I always appreciate them just watching them. But I'm happy for Pikmin fans. It was fun watching some reactions with like big Pikmin fans. You know, just like right out the gate, Pikmin 4.
Arlo,
Yeah.
Arlo's just like losing his mind. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love Arlo. He's great.
Mm-hmm.
So,
but yeah, Metroid Prime Remastered. Is that like, you're a big Metroid Prime fan? Is that like something for you?
Oh yeah. I mean, so when I originally saw the announcement, I thought they were announcing the full trilogy, and I was like, okay, it's just Metroid Prime, the original. But my gosh, that game looks amazing. Mm-hmm. They didn't just like slap on some HD textures. It's like no, they did stuff. There's like a new lighting engine. They remapped texture. Like those are new textures, new character models. I mean, the game looks great. It looks amazing. It looks better than it's ever looked before. I've not yet got a chance to play it. I was holding off on the physical version, which I think has been kind of like been selling out, which is weird to me and a little concerning because I was not under the impression that I would need to pre-order it.
Right.
But it's been like selling out at a bunch of retailers, so I'll need to look into that soon.
So like, what would have for me, since I just recently played it like 2 years ago, for me I'm like not itching to play a remaster version. If it did have the trilogy, then I would consider getting it for that reason.
Yeah.
But now it's like I have to go back and play the GameCube and Wii games. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like maybe maybe this is like a preempt to maybe they'll really, if this sells really well, maybe they'll like encourage them to do that now that they have some assets and stuff in place to
Hmm.
kind of help out
I think it would
in
have been
terms of
huge. It would have been great if they had all three, though. That would have been like
yeah,
killer. But it's like, yeah, it's
yeah.
pretty
All
good, and the fact that they had it available to play like
right
right
away
then.
is yeah, super cool. I always like it when they do that, like shadow drop stuff. Well, it's nice because like this has been rumored for like years at this point. People have been saying this since like
Hmm.
2019. People have been like, "There's gonna be a Metroid Prime like on the Switch. They'll bring the trilogy on the Switch." They've been talking about it. There's been like nothing other than just the rumor mill. Now here it is. They throw it out and they're like, "And it's available today." So it's like, cool, great. I love that. Nice to see Advance Wars finally getting a release date because that's been delayed for like over a year and a half.
Right.
Um,
I mean,
trying to think of
as
what else.
as a rhythm game fan, I mean, Samba de Amigo, Party Central is
Oh
coming out.
yeah,
That was a game on
yeah.
the Wii, Samba de Amigo. And I play very little of it. I have it, but
Hmm.
it's all motion control. That's the only thing with it. Is that
Yeah.
like from my experience, the Joy-Con like just motion is similar to the Wii Remote and Nunchuck, where it's not super reliable. So I'd be a little
Mm.
concerned with having a motion game just like that. So in terms of rhythm games, it's not really what I'm itching to get, but it was very interesting to see that there. It was like very random
Mm.
to see another Sama de Amigo game.
Did they talk about Theater Rhythm? I'm trying to remember if that showed up too
They might have talked
during the
about it.
Nintendo
I think it
during the
just
Nintendo
came
Direct.
out now
It is. It just came out today, I think. Yeah.
when we're
Um.
recording.
Yeah.
But
Um.
yeah, I'll definitely want to play that.
Mhm.
Let's
Um.
see. So they announced the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance
Right. That's
coming to
pretty
Nintendo
cool.
Switch Online. I've
I feel
never
like that's
I've never dabbled in any of the Nintendo online stuff, the NES, Super Nintendo. I've never dabbled in any of it.
okay. The I will say from what I only have like the standard. I don't have like the $60 for the year one.
Hmm.
I just have the standard like 12 like 15 or $12 for the year or whatever it is. It's the ridiculously cheap one. The NES and Super Nintendo stuff is great. It's some I mean it's just nice to have those easily and readily available. Um, on the Switch. It's nice because it's like it works as an alternative to the eShop, which I think is I mean that's basically what it is more or less. So
Like
particularly
Virtual
now,
Console.
yeah, the virtual console type stuff, and it's neat because there's like different like little functions with it where you can like a rewind feature and things like that weren't necessarily on the virtual console. So
Virtual
it's nice to
Console.
have that. Cool that they're implementing Game Boy games again, Game Boy Advance games. I think those are, I mean, it's nice to see the games like that getting a little bit of love again. Um, I don't know, I don't know if it's enough to like sell me completely on it, but the fact that Golden Sun is going to be on the Game Boy Advance one, any excuse for me in my book for people to get exposed to that game. Yeah, an audience that game's over 20 years old now. Like for a new audience to get exposed to that game is like that's good for me. Good in my book.
Right? And so it's so random. They also had Mario Kart Super Circuit on the Game Boy Advance that you
Yeah,
can play online.
yeah.
I'm like, for me that kind of Mario Kart does not like appeal to me now. It's like very
Mm.
dated in my opinion. The Super Mario Kart and Mario Kart Super Circuit, Mario Kart 64 style.
I love those. I love those games still though. I think they're great.
Maybe I should replay them, but it just doesn't appeal to me like the new ones do. Like no part of me is like
Well,
itching to play Mario Kart Super Circuit online. But
yeah, I would never want to play it online really. I remember getting really into Super Circuit when I was a kid. Because I thought it was super cool that they had all of the Super Mario Kart levels as like kind of secret unlocks. Like it was like you played all the different stages in that, and then it's like, oh, and then all the extra cups are literally every stage from Super Mario Kart, along with some new ones
hmm,
too. It was, and I was like, this is awesome. Like I love the fact that they did that. They put all those games in there, and that was the first Mario Kart game to have retro tracks, which was implemented then later in Mario Kart DS. I think was that the first game that did it, or was it Wii that did it first? Hmm. I think it was. I think it was
oh,
DS had it.
Yeah, DS, I think so. I think
Yeah,
DS did.
yeah. Trying to think if there's
But in
there were
terms
any other
of
highlights.
the modern Mario Kart, we did have the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe booster
Right.
course pass. I can't remember. I bought some of them. I don't remember if I bought the season pass like for the whole thing. I'd have to
Mm-hmm.
go on like update it, see if it gives it to me
Yeah.
or not. I don't remember. But that's cool. It just randomly threw in Birdo as a character.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, here you go. Yeah, I was like,
But
I was
that
actually surprised that Berta wasn't in the game.
yeah, I didn't even remember that. But they have like
Yeah.
multiple different color Birdos too,
Okay.
which is interesting. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that there's becoming more and more of like a Super Smash Bros. Ultimate of Mario Karts. Like, is there? I don't know if there's any path forward here in terms of like they're adding all the freaking almost every course in the game is gonna be in it by the end of it, or in all the series,
Mm.
almost every course. So it's like all these characters. I don't know if like is Mario Kart 9 ever gonna happen? I don't know.
Who knows?
They
Yeah.
just keep adding on. Like this game is how old now? 2017, 2016, something like that.
Yeah, that's Mario Kart 8 Deluxe
Yeah,
is that old. Mar
2015 or
Mar
2014.
Mario Kart 8 is 2013, 2014, something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that game's it's old. Yeah, but I mean it's great. Mario Kart 8 is amazing.
So it's interesting. I
So,
don't know if they're just gonna pump this one until they make a new system. If they're gonna make like a whole new system or not,
mhm.
and then make a Mario Kart 9 on there, maybe. But still, it's like with Smash Ultimate. How do you ever move on from this and be like have it
Yeah.
be like the next step?
Yeah. I don't know. It is hard to sort of see what the path forward is really for this, but I don't know.
Yeah. But I'd like to get back into it. It's always fun to get back into the groove. Uh,
Yeah, for sure. I've been meaning to I'd like to hop on board that again sometime, but
Other games are. My brother's a huge fan of the series that we had when we were younger. Actually, it's very niche, and it's Baten Kaitos. Uh,
yeah, those getting remastered,
one
those
and
games
yeah,
getting spruced up look is pretty sweet.
I was very
Um,
young when we played them, and my brother was
mhm.
always a super fan of them. Like, and I never got to fully appreciate them, but I really feel like I would enjoy them if I played them now. I actually might do that, even though we have both of the GameCube ones right here. I might still scoop that up. Um, like that feels like something I would be into playing right now.
Look, I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting. And I know Fire Emblem Engage just came out, so they're not going to announce a new Fire Emblem game yet. But
Yeah,
I'm still waiting for that HD remaster. Do the
that's
Radiance Saga.
the
Do
Radiant
like
Collection.
the Radiant Collection.
It
Yeah,
just yeah, it writes itself. You gotta have
it's
the
like
Radiant Collection.
because it's like I look. I can't do it. I can't shell out $200 for a GameCube game. I'm sorry. I would love to, but I just can't bring myself to do that.
It's tough, and I mean, like they
Um,
still like even in the new Fire Emblem are still showing Ike and
yeah,
other characters from that game. Like it's still remembered fondly, even
yeah.
as like Fire Emblem's moved on to this new era, like since Awakening. So it's
Hmm.
people would definitely jump on that. A lot of people, even Fire Emblem fans that haven't played the original, so definitely think it would be lucrative for them too.
Big time.
Another random
But,
game that is coming out is Fantasy Life. Fantasy
oh yeah, the
Life
Fantasy Life sequel.
I, for the
Right.
life of me, do not understand what that means. Fantasy Life
It's
I, the girl who steals time. Like this is a new way of doing sequels. You put an I.
and you put an eye
I
next
don't
to
understand,
it.
but I did actually really enjoy Fantasy Life. It's like the mixture of my two things I love: simulation games and RPGs. I really enjoyed it on the 3DS. Nothing about this one really stands out to me, but I think I'll still probably give it a shot.
Mm.
But still very confused about the I.
What is the
Fantasy
eye? What
Life
does it
I.
mean?
Like it's not.
Yeah, I
It's
remember
not
seeing
Fantasy
being
Life 2.
like, all right,
I don't know. The
um,
girl who steals time. Of
the girl who
course.
steals time.
They dropped like an epic teaser for Professor Layton coming.
That was what I was gonna say. That was
The,
big. That was it was just a kid. It was just basically just showing him.
his
That was it.
presence just speaks for itself.
It's
The icon.
the
It's like
man
Rihanna
himself. There he
dropping a
is.
new album. You know,
Yeah,
it's that kind
I
of
was gonna say, or like
power.
Rihanna being on a Smash Brothers stage, like she was during the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Did you see
That was
that?
like big Battlefield kind of.
Yeah, it
Um,
was.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I, as much as I enjoy the Professor Layton, I've not played any past the first one, and I still haven't beaten the first one. But I really love the concept of them, and I think I would love them if I played through 'em more.
Yeah, yeah. I need to play through more. I love because I love puzzle games. I love puzzle games. So,
Quicks, you gotta buy
I
Quicks
played Quicks.
on the Game Boy.
I played the first two. I have on one future. I don't have anything past that.
Hmm.
I think because I think the last one on the DS is kind of expensive now. I don't remember if
Really?
that's Azran Legacy. I
Damn.
think it might
I
be.
should have bought that earlier.
Um,
I have a
yeah,
couple of them on the DS, but not that one.
yeah. I just have whatever the Mysterious Village and the Cursed
The Chris,
Train or whatever it's called.
whatever,
Whatever it's
fuck.
called. Yeah, I don't remember. Yeah, whatever. But then on one future, and then I think it's Azran, and then a new trilogy starts, which I think actually takes place before that.
The
It's
new
like
trilogy would just not compare to the original
as
trilogy, of course.
Azran Legacy, Miracle Mask, and there's like another one too that I can't remember. But
But yeah, if you like puzzle games, definitely check out Quicks is coming to Nintendo Switch Online soon. I heard in the Game Boy
that's
collection.
not. I don't think that's true at all. I think
Um,
you're just making a. I think that's fake news.
yeah.
Um, were there any other announcements? I'm trying. I feel like there's something else that I'm forgetting, but
I wrote down, all the ones I wrote down that were noteworthy to me. There's nothing left. It's just Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom. If there's anything else there, but
I
there's not
mean,
much. It's
no. I
basically
mean,
definitely Breath of the Wild too. It's just all the vibe I get from it.
yeah,
It's just like very much more
yeah.
of that.
We love Katamari reroll.
Sure.
That was exciting to me. I really liked the Katamari Damacy reroll. It's very good. So I know we love Katamari. Some people say that they like that one even more than the first
Hey,
one.
speak for yourself.
So okay. Well, I've never
You
played
love
it, so I can't
Katamari.
say. I do love Katamari. I love Katamari. We love Katamari. So there's that. There's that Disney Illusion Island game that we've basically seen that same trailer before, so that didn't really show much.
To me, it doesn't.
The,
It looks okay. It doesn't look
the one
outstanding to me.
it looks fun. I love the art style in that. The thing to me that stood out the most
Oh,
because I I'm like I don't even know what kind of game this is, but it looks weird and I'm into it. Is Tron Identity?
you're into that,
Heck yeah!
really? Okay.
I love dude. I love Tron. I
I know, but
love Tron.
something about like I've seen.
And
Haven't they had Tron games in the past? And when I see Tron, I just kind of zone out because it seems like it'll be just be like a little. What are those? Just generic license game kind of thing.
but this seems like like almost like a choose your own adventure type game though, which
Really?
is really interesting to me. Like to me that's just I don't know. I'm very interested in that just seemed really cool.
All
There's also a Ghost Trick remake also coming out or a port of the
yeah.
Ghost Trick game that was on DS. That's cool. There's a lot to love
It
here.
was a good direct.
Um,
It was a good
yeah,
direct for sure.
can't get my hands on that Zelda's collector's edition. That's what I'm saying. I've tried,
That's what you're
but
saying.
it's been tough. It's tough out there. It's killer out there.
Hmm. I was gonna say that Hogwarts Legacy is like actually a game I really would like to play if I could. I probably would have gotten
Yeah,
it already if I was
yeah.
able to play it, but I'm forced to wait until April, lest I buy a whole PS5, which I'm not gonna do. But I'm very intrigued by that.
Yeah, it seems really cool. I've watched a couple. I watched some VTuber
I'm not
streams of
watching
it.
any of it. None of it.
I basically just to sort of like see what there's to do, and it's like they're just like out doing a bunch of random stuff. And I'm like, dang, they're not doing any story stuff. You can just go and chill out around the world, and I'm like,
Mm,
that's
that's
really cool.
that's my cup of tea right there.
Yeah.
All right, before we go, should
Okay.
we talk about some of the videos we put out over
Yeah.
the past month?
Yeah.
We missed a week, so there's actually 1 week less of videos since
We
Alec was dying.
was deathly ill.
So there's not as much, but we did put out the Honey I Shrunk the Kids review.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like that was fun. It was good to like reminisce and go
It was a
back to
short
that.
review, one of our shorter reviews. Usually, like all of our
Yeah,
reviews in recent history end up being like at least 30, maybe 40 minutes. And this was only 20 minutes,
yeah.
short and to the point.
Mhm.
But I think worth mentioning is that now we'll be having more chance times. Chance times were always like a 3 or like 5 a year almost thing.
Mhm.
Very like far and few between. Few and far between.
Few and far between.
That's the
Yes.
one. But now, if we keep going at this rate, it won't be every month necessarily. If we want to switch it out, but more or less could be like almost a monthly thing. So we get a
Mm.
regular dose of chance time, which is like randomness. So we'll just be reviewing random things. You never know what you're gonna get each month. So that'd be fun. Did another Tarqaron Mad Libs finally.
Yeah, it was good to finally break that out again. We'd literally been talking about it for like months. We're like, all right, we're gonna do that next week, and then like something else came up. Like, all right, well, I guess we're not doing that. And
Yeah, and it's one of those ones where we always want to kind of get it in there, like a Mind Crushers when we can. So definitely want to do more of that, especially since it was like made specifically for us.
yeah,
It's a lot of fun.
it's a content making machine right there.
hmm
Boom.
And we had Dubs with us for a couple videos.
That's my highlight of the month. So definitely check those out. My one of my friends from college get to join us for. He's going to be coming back actually because he's joining us for the Gents Challenge this time around.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then he's also in our Box Art
Box art
Battles,
battles.
which will be out before this, and
Yes, it's already out. It's already out.
it is. Oh, it's already out. It's already out. It's already out. But yeah, it will. So go check that out. We always love doing those, and they're always a delight.
It's
So
interesting. I think it's fair. We could tease the idea I pitched, and will probably be the plan for
mm,
it, which is that once we do 8 episodes, that'll be considered a season of Tarqaron or of box art
Box Art
battles,
Battles. Yes.
and then we'll do a sort of Tarqaron All Stars on the brain. Box
Mm,
art battles, All Stars or season finales type thing, where it will
mm,
be a shorter bracket. Usually there's 16 games in each video. This one will be 8 of all the winners going head to head. We'll have to figure out what we'll do for a guest for that. But then essentially my idea was that at that point that's the end of the season, and then next time when we do another box art battles, every guest is up for grabs again.
yep.
Basically, you're limited to you can only have one appearance per season. It's just so we can have a unique one to decide each winner. But after that, it's like we'll definitely have new guests as well as old.
Mm.
So it's just I think that would be a cool way to do it. Super,
So I want to have Pete on again, man.
yeah.
I'm telling you, he is a highlight having Pete on the channel is great.
And it's funny because it's like a short season in terms of episodes, but very long. It's like a 3-year season at this
Yeah.
point, almost 4-year season. Like we started in 2019,
Dang.
so yeah. If we could do them more often, that would be cool. But
Mm.
it's tough. It's tough because usually it's like its own standalone video. We were able to fit in the
Yeah.
Gents Challenge, but it's like a big time sink. It's like a podcast, almost 2 hours consistently, an hour and a half to 2 hours every time. So
Yeah.
but it's a
Yeah.
lot of fun.
It's and and having a guest, we want to respect their time too. So we it
Yeah,
can be tough sometimes to block out, like block
right.
out 2 whole hours or whatever. So yeah.
The season finale,
Uh,
though, when we do that, will be 8 winners. So it'll be definitely a shorter video for sure,
hmm
but it'll be a lot of fun to like get into like all these box arts that were like the winners of their respective videos. It'll be interesting to see how it shapes out.
especially because like it can be funny because sometimes in the videos it's like you got a bunch of crap that you're having to sift through just
Yeah.
because it's like just random stuff.
I wonder if
So
any of them will just be blowouts. It's like, all right, we don't
yeah,
need to talk about this. Like, this is
yeah.
a really weak winner. I don't know. You haven't taken the time to think about it, so it'll be fun to just go in
Yeah.
fresh. there's gonna be a Shrek game in the mix. It's funny if we
Oh
do
yeah,
more themed things like that. They'll have a representative in there. Get a horror
yeah.
game and a
Hmm.
Shrek game. But yeah, and then other than that, we've been doing Survivor Panama, which the last few episodes have been great. I think a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
I think check out. I would say if you've watched Survivor, if you're part onto this channel because of Survivor, uh, you definitely check those out. It's been getting really good recently, especially. I've been a big fan.
Hmm.
Been a little bit more zany and wacky and off the wall. So yeah,
And we're getting
good
down
stuff.
to the end game. I mean, I said before that because the traditional season's episode 14 is the finale, 15 is the reunion. But I forgot
Mhm.
that there's it's actually episode 15 is the finale, and 16 is the reunion on this one.
Because they had like a
A
behind the
closer
scenes or
look,
whatever,
yeah.
a closer look. Yeah.
So
Uh,
so we do have another step along the road before then, but
mm,
we're almost there still. So it'll be fun.
yeah. Be good.
All right. Well, that's it, right?
Pretty
Tarqaron
much. Yeah. I think
podcast.
that's it.
Fun time.
Another one in the books. Here we go.
Hmm.
So sweet.
As always, if you enjoyed the episode, subscribe to our channel, subscribe to our podcast feed wherever you want to watch it or listen to it. You can like the video, leave a comment, hit the notification bell, click the link in the description for our social media. All right. If you want to leave a
Yeah.
comment with a question that'll be answered on the next episode, feel free to do that. In the meantime, that's it. We don't even need to
Yeah.
recommend a video, huh?
We already highlighted some of the ones to look out for this past month. So look forward to more in the future.
Yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff on the way, as always. All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Thank you. Take care. Oh, here we
Thank
go.
you. Here we go. We're doing this. We're namaste. What
Yeah,
is this? Is that what we're doing to end podcast episodes?
that's right.
Okay.